What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here tonight with a review for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Now, you guys, before we even get into this episode review, I just want you guys to go jump down into my description bar and click on the link. You guys know I am affiliated with a company, Everlasting Comfort. I did a product review about one of their products. Like I said, just click down there in that description bar. Click on the link that I have in there. Go check out the website. Go check out, their stuff. They have office stuff, my foot pillow, stuff for your chairs if you guys are working from home. Go get into that. Go get into it. Now, you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this episode review of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This is season 1, episode number 5, I believe it is. And what was the name of the episode? The episode is titled Ladies Who Lunch. So, without further ado, let's talk about it, because it's gonna be a doozy. All right, you guys, so this episode now, it picked back up where the last one left off. Now, you guys remember, Mary was having that Met Gala brunch with the ladies. And you guys remember, she wanted all the ladies to, say something that I guess the group didn't know about the other. And you guys remember, Jen was talking, and Jen apologized to Meredith, but she didn't apologize to Mary. And, Mary let it be known in no uncertain terms that she was not happy with what Jen was saying. So her and Jen got into it with one another at the table. Because basically, from what I was really listening to with Mary, it was almost as if Mary was just telling Jen to be cautious of the words that she uses. And then Jen was like, well, I just say what you guys are thinking and are too afraid to say. How do I feel? I mean, I don't know. I guess, honestly, with these group of ladies, I don't think that any of the ladies are afraid to say what they feel. Because I think for the most part, all the ladies, say the things that they mean to say, with the exception of Meredith No. 2, aka Lisa. I think she's the only one that doesn't say what she means, because with the situation with Whitney. But I think Whitney says what she wants to say. I think Heather says what she wants to say. Meredith, I don't know. I don't quite know. Mary, she does. The thing is, I think Jen is trying to say that the ladies don't use the language that she uses, i.e. the curse words. But I mean, there are easier ways to get your point across without having to curse. Am I wanting to talk? No, because I cuss a lot. But I do know how to, articulate a thought in a sentence without using a curse word. And I think in a nutshell, that's what Mary was trying to say. And then we all know how Mary is with her eyes. She's very animated with her eyes. And I look at her eyes, and I have family members who have eyes kind of like hers that, buck out and bulge out. I have family members with that. So Jen was telling her, don't blink your eyes at me. Don't do this with your eyes. And I'm like, Jen, what the fuck are you talking about? Her eyes? Jen just has a deep-rooted issue with Mary. You know what? Honestly, when it comes to Jen, I don't think that Jen has a specific issue with Mary. I think Jen's issue was with Sharif, and she just takes it out on the women. I think that's what Jen's true issue is her issue is with Sharif. So she takes it out on the women. And then Mary told her, don't get ghetto. Don't get ghetto. And then Jen got so offended by that. And, Mary told Jen that she can leave. So she did walk outside. But Heather went and got her and told her to come back in. I'm like, Heather, why'd you tell her to come back in? You just asking for some more shit to happen, aren't you? So now when Jen hopped up to leave, she told Mary, don't open your motherfucking eyes. I'm like, Jen, what the fuck has her eyes got to do with anything? It was really stupid to me, to be quite honest with you. So I was halfway on Mary's side. Like, I was on Mary's side for a millisecond until Jen said this comment that, now see, here's the thing, here's my issue with Jen. Jen is not a real friend or no kind of shit like that. Like, Jen is not a real friend. You've already sprayed Meredith's business. Now you're gonna spray Mary's business. Now, granted, what Mary said was fucked up, but damn. So you the type, like I couldn't be friends with somebody like Jim. Like if I tell you something in confidence, I gotta sit here and worry about the fact that you're gonna go back and run tell that. You're gonna be able to run tell that kind of motherfucker. So she said that Mary came over to her house and told her that if she goes to a 7-Eleven and there are black people outside, she will leave and go to another 7-Eleven. Now I do have an issue with that, Mary. First of all, you black. So what is your issue with going to a 7-Eleven? Like I don't get it. Now, no, I still don't get it. Because if you go to a 7-Eleven in the hood, all you got to do is just take your shit with you, hide some shit, take your purse with you, hide your shit up under the seat, hide it wherever, lock the fucking doors, go inside, come back out. It's not that deep. Like I will tell you guys a story, and it's it's hella funny to me. So if you guys are not familiar with Dallas, so there's an area in Dallas called Oak Cliff, and it is the hood of Dallas. You got Oak Cliff, you got South Dallas. Those are like the hood areas of Dallas. So my aunt, she lives in Oak Cliff, and we had Christmas at her house. We typically always have Christmas at her house. So the first year that we had Christmas at our house, my family, we all came up here because this was when I was living back home. So we came up here, and her daughter, my cousin, and her husband were coming to the house. Well, actually, had already been to the house. He needed to go to the store to get something. So there's a Circle K, if you guys are not familiar, it's a gas station. So he had to go to the Circle K, and he went to the Circle K. I don't know who told his dumb ass, and he's not black, he's white, by the way. So he went to the gas station, got out, went inside the store, came back outside, and what happened? His car had been stolen. Now you might be asking the question, how did his car get stolen in that matter of time, in a short period of time? I'll tell you. This dumb fool left the keys in the car with the ignition running with the door unlocked. You in the hood, you literally asking for somebody to just steal your fucking car. But he eventually got the car back, but the fact that you just sat there and left your keys in the car and it's running, you think ain't nobody gonna just hop in that bitch and drive off? They did. See, that's my issue with Mary. Like I was on Mary's side for a half a second until she said that. I'm like, what is your issue? Like, if you go to a hood gas station, just take your purse with you. Or if you go into a hood gas station, just take whatever you need with you. Don't take all that shit with you. Don't wear all those fucking labels that don't go together. I was almost on Mary's side for half of a second. Half of a second. Half of a second. Mary, you ain't shit. Let's move on. All right, you guys. Next, let's talk about Meredith number 2, aka Lisa. It wasn't shit with her in this episode. I don't know how I'm gonna stretch this. This is 3 sentences. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna stretch this out. But let's see if I can stretch it out just by talking. Okay, so we see Lisa, aka Meredith number 2. She is throwing a birthday party for her son Henry, who was 8. That's basically it. That was it in a nutshell, what was going on with Meredith number 2. So she was talking to her husband, whose name is John, about Meredith and Seth. And honestly, she really wasn't talking about Meredith and Seth. She was talking about herself. And that's why I even tweeted this, like, Meredith number 2, well, John is in a relationship with himself, in a marriage with himself, because Meredith number 2 only cares about Meredith number 2. Like, that's all she cares about is Meredith number 2. Meredith number 2 only cares about Meredith number 2. Oh, speaking of which, Meredith and Meredith number 2 are on Watch What Happens Live right now. So if you guys can, I hope you guys don't hear that. I hope this microphone is not picking it up. Because they're on Watch What Happens Live right now. Now, you can actually tell them apart. You can tell who Meredith is and you can tell who Lisa is. But with this show, did they not think tonight, like, not get their hair done a different way? Like, why come one didn't just cut her hair, do something? Because, I mean, they literally look fucking like. But that's it for, what's her name again? Lisa. Let's move on. All right, guys, next I'm going to talk about Heather. So I did forget to mention something with Heather. So when Heather went and got Jen and they came back to the table, it seemed like all the ladies were coming against Mary. But y'all forgot the fact that Jen said that she fucks her grandfather. Okay. So Mary called, actually, Mary got offended because Heather kept saying she was being a little bit hypocritical. She wasn't calling you a hypocrite, Mary. She said you were being hypocritical. Big difference. But Mary is an idiot. That's all I got to say. So we see, who am I talking about? Heather. So Heather is cooking with her daughters, and her daughter's boyfriend comes over. Honestly, it wasn't much with Heather either. Because, I mean, she was talking about the fact about the... Now, the one thing I will say about with these ladies is I get sick of hearing about the fucking Mormon church. I don't care what the Mormon church feels, thinks, or believes. I don't care about a religion that excludes somebody who looks like me. That's my one gripe with this show. I hope that if we do get a season 2, I do hope that the ladies stop talking about the Mormon church. Just say fuck the Mormon church altogether. Be like Heather's daughters, because her daughters don't really care about the Mormon church. So if we do get a season 2, please, for the love of God, don't mention the Mormon church. Like, don't mention that shit. I just don't care about the Mormon church. Where am I at? So yeah, her kid, like I said, her kids are over in the Mormon church. So we then do see, that Heather and Mary go out to dinner. So Heather wants to talk to Mary about her comment about her being hypocritical, which they never really got to that comment. They talked about Jen and, how do they mend it, their relationship. Mary doesn't really know or think there's any way that could be mended because she feels that Jen is triggered by her skin color and her fashions. I'll give you the skin color. I'll give you that, but I won't give you the fashions because y'all both have terrible fashions. Like y'all can afford all these labels, but y'all throw the shit together and it looks tacky as fuck. So I'll give you half of a point for that. And I'm not gonna say that Jen is necessarily jealous that she's black and she's not. What I will say is I feel like with Jen, I think, and actually, we'll talk about it in just a few minutes. What I feel about Jen. We'll talk about that. So Mary also tells her about her, her grandmother, wanting her to take over the church and marry her step grandfather. I don't give a fuck what that old ass windbag would have said. Like, I would have been like, hell the fuck no, I'm not marrying this motherfucker. Really? You want me to marry somebody that you've been married to and that you've had sex with? No, that's nasty as hell. I don't want to, oh God, I don't want to swap spit with somebody who swaps spit with you. I don't want to sleep with somebody who stuck his, if he stuck his, and and then you put your mouth on his, nope, and he put nope, that's nasty, Mary. It's easy just to tell an old windbag, no, I ain't doing it. If the church is gonna be gone, the church is gonna be gone. I don't give a hot motherfucking damn. Let the church go bye-bye. I don't give a mother effing damn. Like, no, don't give one damn, 2 shits or 3 fucks. Not a 1, a 2, or a 3. No, ma'am. Goodbye, grandma. Goodbye. If my mama want to marry him, let her marry him. But I'm not. That's just nasty. Ugh. Let's move on. All right, you guys. And then next, let's talk about Meredith and Seth. The one thing that I can say with Meredith and Seth, y'all heading for divorce. Because it was ugly. Both scenes with Meredith and Seth were terrible. So we see Meredith. So Meredith goes to the airport to pick Seth up. And, when he got in the car, she gave him a kiss and she wanted to hold his hands. So then, he was talking about I guess he works in some part of Ohio. I can't remember if he said Canton, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, something like that. I don't remember. And he was talking about moving there. He's like, well, what about Akron? She says, no, she doesn't want to move. And they were literally going back and forth. I'm like, damn, he ain't even been in his car for a good maybe 10 minutes. And y'all are already going at it about, like, y'all can't even, I don't see that marriage lasting. I feel like by the time we get to the reunion, Meredith is going to have been done filed for divorce from Seth. I just don't see it. I think Seth wants to be in the marriage, but I don't feel that Meredith wants to be in that marriage at all. I wouldn't be surprised if Meredith got another man on the side, like, because she's just, it just feels like she's checked out of it. So then we do see Seth, and I guess he's packing to get ready to go back for work. So, he's telling her about the fact that, him leaving, maybe she doesn't want him around, and she says, maybe I don't. I was like, oh shit, did she actually say that out loud? She did. I'm like, yeah, Meredith is over Seth. I don't know what the ins and outs of their relationship is, but Meredith is done with Seth. And I really did feel bad for Seth. I felt so bad for Seth because Seth broke down crying, saying that he doesn't want to be separated from Meredith after being married to her for 25 years. I'm like, damn, y'all been together for 25 years. And your wife just really, bruh, she ain't seeing it for you. She ain't seeing it for you. It might be best for him to move on. I really do think it might be in his best interest to move on. I really do. Because like I said, Meredith seems as if she's checked out of the marriage. And like I said, once we get to the reunion, I won't be surprised if Meredith tells us, Seth and I have filed for divorce. Because Meredith is just not in that relationship. She ain't. She's not. But let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. Next, we're gonna talk about Jen. Now, see what they did in the episode was when Jen and Mary, they both did. You know how like when on Atlanta Housewives or any other Housewives, when a housewife has a confrontation with one another, and they talk to either another housewife or their spouse, and they do the two scenes together where one is telling her side and the other one telling her side, so they'll go back and forth. So Jen, she calls Sharif and she's telling Sharif about Mary's event and how it was like the worst experience that she's ever been in. So then she's telling Sharif, and see, here's my thing with Jen. I don't know if she told Sharif the whole story, because yes, you did tell the ladies that, you say the things that they might be afraid to say. But did you also tell Sharif that when you were at, whose party was it? Whitney's party. Did you tell him when you were at Whitney's party that you called, that you said in front of a whole crowd of people who at that time might not have known Mary's situation that Mary fucks her grandfather? Like, that's rude as shit, Jen. And that's I can't even say I want to like Jen. I didn't. Because I had, coming into this season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, I would see Jen on social media getting into it with other housewives. And I'm like, okay, I see what she's doing. Jen wants to make a name for herself because she got into it with Brandy Redmond of Real Housewives of Dallas. I'm like, okay, Jen is just trying to make a name for herself. The easiest way to make a name for yourself is come on the show. And I'm not saying that Jen is not being herself, but come on the show and make the viewers think that you're being authentic. Because parts of me don't feel that Jen is 100% authentic to who she is. And I know people say she was like this before, but was she at this magnitude? I think for me, I feel like Jen is put on for the cameras. Like I said in last week's review, I feel like Jen wants to be the Teresa, the Nene, the Lisa Vanderpump, the also Erica Girardi. She wants to be the Leanne Locken. She wants to be, who would I say is the star of Potomac? I guess you would say Karen. But she wants to be like those ladies. She wants to be the star of Salt Lake City. And I don't think she's going to be the star of Salt Lake City. I gotta say, I don't feel it. I think that the other women are. I think that inadvertently, just because of Mary's story, I think Mary's story has made her likable. But for me, my favorites on the show are Heather and Whitney. And sometimes, Mary in this episode just rubbed me wrong. It was just her in this episode that really rubbed me wrong with the 7-Eleven comment. It was a 7-Eleven comment that just did it for me. But Heather and Whitney for sure are my two favorites. But oh shit, I forgot to talk about Whitney. We'll talk about Whitney in just a minute. So yeah, I mean, I get it. And then Jen is talking about the fact that, Mary called her ghetto and a hoodlum. Girl, why are those words able to trigger you? And then my issue with Jen is I feel like she takes on the plight of a black person. You guys can hate me. I got to speak my truth and tell you how I feel. I feel that Jen takes on the plight of a black woman. I really do. Because she was talking about how those words are attributed to, about how those words are negative toward a black person. But I'm like, Jen, but you're not black. Like the things that you, like the way you act, the way you were acting at that table to Mary, like, Chloe, don't open your motherfucking, the way you were talking and the way you were acting. I'm not gonna say it was ghetto or like a hoodlum, but the way that you were acting at that table with Mary, you were acting like you were a quote unquote, you were acting like what people think black people act like. And that's the only way I can say it. You were acting like what people think a black woman acts like, finger snapping, smack popping her, sucking her lip, all that kind of stuff, rolling her eyes, taking off her earrings and all that stuff. That was the vibe that you were giving me when you were sitting at that table with Mary. You were giving me very much what people perceive a black woman to be. And that's why I even tweeted, does Jen think that she's black? And someone tweeted to me and he was like, people in that community perceive her as black because, they think she's mixed. But at the end of the day, Jen is not black. She has black sons. Okay, I get that. She has black sons and she has a black husband. That still doesn't make Jen black. That makes her family black. And then, what else was it? What else would the tweet say? It was something else that the tweet said. And then her experiences. But even her experiences can't make her black. Just because people perceive you as black doesn't mean that you're black. People could perceive me as, you can't perceive me as anything other than black. Like even, and the issue that I have with Jen is, the issue that I had with that comment was, her experiences and people perceive her as black, but nobody perceives her as black now because Jen bleaches her fucking skin. So she looks like a white woman. And I don't want to take away from the fact that she has black sons and a black husband. She understands what it's like to have black children. She understands that part. She understands what it means to be married to a black man. She understands what it means to have black children, but she doesn't understand the black experience because she never lived it. She's never lived the black experience. She doesn't have to worry about when she walks out of her house. She doesn't have to worry about the things that black people have to worry about when we walk out of our houses every day. Jen doesn't have to worry about that. She does, however, have to worry about it with her husband and her sons, but she herself doesn't. And even in her pictures, of her before pictures, before all the plastic surgery and all the plastic surgery and the skin bleaching, I didn't think she was black. I thought she was just, I never thought, I would have guessed, I wouldn't have thought she was black. I would have thought she was, I don't know what I would have thought. I don't know what I would have thought, but I would have never guessed black. Wouldn't have guessed black. But that's my gripe with Jen. Besides the fact that she'll spill anybody's business who talks to her. Did I have anything else in here for Miss Jen? Or was that it? I think that was it for Jen. I think. And then this bitch just froze. Yeah. And then also, I just want to know why she was taking that 7-Eleven comment so deep. Girl, it ain't that deep. Was it fucked up what Mary said? 100% fucked up. Talking about, so if my sons or my nephews are at the 7-Eleven, my family's there, you gonna turn around? Jen, let it go. Please, let it go. Again, was it fucked up what Mary said? 100,000% fucked up. But let's move on. All right, you guys, I actually forgot to talk about Whitney. So let's talk about Whitney. So we see Whitney with her brother, and I think they were doing karate. So she was talking to her brother about their dad. She asked him when was the last time he talked to their dad. He said he hadn't talked to him since Thanksgiving. So then she tells her brother that their dad is going to sober living. Now we also find out that Whitney's family is very colorful. I wonder why Whitney's family judges her so fucking much. I get it, she slept with a man. I get it, she was married and her husband was married at the time they got together. But if going off of what this show says about the Mormon faith, that they frown upon people who get a divorce, why do they frown upon her parents? Because her dad is divorced and her mom and dad are both divorced from each other and from other people. Because her dad had 2 children prior to, getting with her mother. And her mother had 2 kids prior to getting with her dad. Her mom had 2 sons, and her dad had a daughter and a son, I think. And when they got together, they had she and her sister. So I was kind of confused. So and that's the other thing. That's the one thing about, like I keep saying, if we get a season 2, this Mormon church bullshit gotta go, because the Mormon church is just hypocritical altogether. Completely hypocritical. But yeah, she's telling her brother that their dad. He said, so what prompted all this? She said, well, he did a 7-day detox, and then he went to rehab for 30 days, and now he's going to go to a sober living for 5 days for a 5-day-a-week program. Now she said before he did go, she said when he got out of the rehab, he was supposed to go right to the sober living, but he didn't. She said he went to LA, California, I believe, and when he was out in California, he almost had a relapse. So she asked him, like, can you reach out to him? I know he's not your dad, but can you reach out to him and just, send him some positive words of, encouragement or whatever? And her brother says, yeah, I can, and I do that. So she says, thank you, just do that. So then we do see her and her father, and they're heading towards the sober living. And the one thing that I just cannot get past with Whitney's dad is the hair. I just really want him to do something different with that hair. But I do commend the man for, going ahead and getting the help that he needs. So, yeah, let's move on to Mary and close this episode out. All right, you guys, and then last up, Mary Cosby. Mary, where do I even start with you? First of all, your fashion. They showed her closet. She has all those, again, like I said earlier in this review, she has all the fucking labels in the world, but she does not know how to put those labels together. Just a complete waste of money. So we see her, she's talking to Pawpaw about, Jen. She feels like Jen is picking on her. Do I agree with that? Do I agree with that Jen is picking on her? I actually got to sit here and think about that. Do I think that Jen is picking on Mary? No, I don't think that Jen is picking on Mary. I think Jen is just very dramatic for no fucking reason. I think that's what the issue is. Jen is dramatic and she doesn't know how to let shit go. That's what the issue is with Jen. My problem, like the issue is with Jen, Mary gave her that half-ass apology about the hospital comment. You accepted it, but now you're still harping on it. And I think that's the issue with Jen. Jen is dramatic and don't know how to let shit go. That's what it is. So no, I don't think that Jen is picking on Mary. I just think that Jen just does not know how to let the shit go. Like, oh God, this reunion. I'm not even looking forward to the reunion dealing with Jen. I can take the other women at the reunion, but I can't take Jen at the reunion. I think Jen is gonna do the most at the reunion. I literally feel that. So Mary tells him, what Jen said at the Met Gala luncheon, and she also tells him that she asked her to leave. So then Mary also brings up the fact about her comments about their marriage, and Mary breaks down crying, and I'm like, okay, where did that come from? So she says that she feels that Jen is making a mockery of their relationship. Do I agree with that? Not really. I mean, I get it. The man is not your actual grandfather. And he said that. He's not your actual grandfather. So we can scratch that off. The man is not your grandfather. But the situation, nonetheless, is still weird, Mary. It's still very weird. And I'm going to tell you why it's weird. It's weird because, like I said earlier in the review, the man was with your grandmother. Now, if he wasn't with, I think that's the factor that just makes it, and I don't think people are making a mockery of it. I think people are just confused by it. Because again, what did I say? He was married to your grandmother. So I'm going to assume, I can only assume, I don't know that they did this. If they just had a marriage on paper, that would be different. But if they had a marriage, a conventional marriage where they slept together and did marital things together, that's what makes it weird. Because if your grandmother had a traditional marriage with him where she had sex with him and you got with him, that's just nasty to me. I'm sorry, I can't say it any other way, but that's just nasty to me. Like, I was thinking about this yesterday when I was driving, because I was like, oh, tomorrow's Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and I was thinking to myself, like, my grandfather, he was, God rest his soul, but the man was a bit of a hoe, because he was married to my grandmother and he had other women. And I was thinking to myself, if my family had money like that and a business, and my grandfather said to me, oh, Jerome, that's my middle name, which is what they call me. If he said, oh, Jerome, I want you to marry such and such so that we can keep the money in the family and keep the business, I would have told my grandfather, I'm like, fuck you. I'm not marrying any of your hoes. I'm not calling them hoes like that in the sense of they're hoes. I'm not marrying any of your women. First of all, all of them were ugly as hell. Gotta keep it real. They were uglier than a motherfucker. I don't know what he saw in them. They were ugly. Shame the devil and tell a lie, shame the devil. But they were ugly. But if he had come to me and said, hey, in order to keep this money in the family, you gotta marry her, I would have told him, you got how many other grandsons? Ask one of them to do it, because this one, he's not doing it. I don't do anybody I'm not doing anybody in the family's sloppy seconds. That's nasty. No. Just nasty as hell. Ugh. God, no. All right, you guys. So yeah, that's going to be it for this episode review. Be sure to like this video, leave your comments, and subscribe to the channel. And hit that bell notification button so you guys are aware of when I drop anything else. And share this video. And until the next one, you guys do me a solid favor. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. And socially distance. And I will see you guys later. And you guys noticed, I noticed at the end of this episode review, we saw, not at the review, at the end of the episode for next week's preview, Lala Kent shows up from Vanderpump Rules. Way to ruin one episode for me. I'll see you guys later. Bye.